Alright, so I am back, and I hope you have had fun working on your sweater, on the back of the crochet sweater. Now, let me tell you where we are so that make sure that we're on the same page. You have worked a piece of fabric like a rectangle. It'd be more like a rectangle. And your homework was to crochet from your waist up to the back of your neck or the top of your shoulders. I'm short, so I knew I needed at least about 18 inches from here to here. And when I got near the 18 inches and I stopped, and I forgot to say, I really wanted you to stop on row number 1. I wanted you to work row 2 and then do row 1 with the little clusters, just like that. So if you didn't, I don't believe I said it. And if you needed to work one more row, that's fine. Look, we'll wait. I'm just teasing. But that's the row you want to stop on. And it took me 17 when I counted. As I got close to the length I wanted, it turned out to be 17 of these little clusters. 1, 2, 3, and that's where I stopped. All right, now the next thing I need for you to do is to, well, if you've crocheted with me, you know at this point when the stitch or the pattern, if it's going in the direction that I can do this one step, then it really helps me. This is the bottom edge, this is the beginning edge, and you can see the leftover chains. This is where we made the chain and started working the fabric. All right, once I get the length that I want for my back, then I take the bottom edge, turn it around, still on the front side of the fabric because the back side is marked. Turn it around. Now the bottom becomes a top or at the shoulder right here. This is the back of the neck and the shoulders, and then the top becomes our very bottom edge, because we are going to add some lace, a little lace to this at when we get to that point. Does that make sense? If you've been crocheting with me, you kind of remember this. Now I know this is a crazy angle, so let me see. All right, what I need for you to do, I think I'll change the angle of my camera. I'm so glad someone told me that my camera was a little out of focus, and so I've been trying to resolve the problem. But while I reset my camera so that we can come in and I can show you how to connect, you're going to need, your yarn, and we're going to connect. But I need you to go ahead and pick some stitch markers. Give me at least 4. 2 of each color. I have 2 reds, and then I have 2 of this green, or it could have been blue or anything, but 2. I might change these so you can see it. But anyway, make sure you have some stitch markers. I've got those little locking ones. Looks like a little lock. Okay? And then I will be right back, and then I'm going to show you how to start working one side. Then I'll show you the neck, and then we'll have the left side. Back in just a minute. Alright, I hope this is a better angle. Alright, now, with the markers, the first thing I want you to do, we need to go ahead and put in these markers before we start actual crocheting. You remember you should have an odd number, and this is how it's so helpful, and how it helped me to, teach myself how to crochet garments. Alright, I want you to walk your fingers in, just touching the cluster, because that's what we've counted. So just walk your fingers in from each side, and you should be able to wind up with at least 3 clusters at the neck, or what we're going to call the neck. You should have a cluster right in the center that represents, now you don't have to mark it. I marked it so you could see it on my yarn here. But there's a center cluster right there, and there's an equal number on this side and an equal number on this side. All right, I want everyone will get 3 clusters for your neck. So if you've got a center, when you move back over here, there's a cluster there. Can you see it? Then on this side, there's a cluster. And then there's the double crochets. I want you to put a really different marker right here on these double crochets. Here and on this side. So what it looks, this is what you'll have. The double crochets, the 3 double crochets, you'll have a cluster, 3 double crochets, the center cluster, 3 double crochets, another cluster, and 3 double crochets. Does that make sense? Look at it. This is the center of my fabric, and this is why I use, when possible, sometimes I have to use an even number, maybe it's just a certain stitch or pattern, but I normally get an odd number, and this is why. Now I have a center, and I can work back from that center without having to come up with a lot more math like I have to do in knitting. Does that make sense? Now, to get started, right here, this is where we're going to start and connect, but I want you to go ahead and put a mark right there on those 3 double crochets. Just go ahead and mark them. Let's see if I'm even on camera. Oops, I'm way up a little higher. Okay. Just go ahead and put a marker there. When we get ready to go over the front, you'll see why we need this. And then, of course, you'd go to this side, and right at the top, you'd mark those 3 double crochets. So when we connect, we don't have to try to find this seam. This is going to show us the seam. There's going to be a seam here as we get ready to connect. So now, this is what you should have. A piece of fabric to the length that you want it. The bottom is the top now, and the top is the bottom. We have set in stitch markers to represent and show us where the neck and the front your front panels will go. Here's the right front. This will be the next area, and then here's the left. All right, let's see. Was there anything else that I wanted to say before? No, I think that's it. I'm going to, this yarn that I'm getting ready to, the yarn I used for this one was just some of the Premier, some of the original Deborah Norville Everyday. I have a lot of this yarn. You know, I fell in love with it. Every time I fall in love with a yarn, they always discontinue it. I can't tell you. Just like the Banner. You know, Banner was my favorite, or still is my favorite yarn to do sweaters, my knitted sweaters. And then I run into this and start using it as, so that's just the way it is. But I do have a big stock, so I'm trying to work through it. That's the only reason I picked this up. I need to get rid of this yarn, people. It's going to wind up in the Goodwill if I don't. All right, so there we go. All right, let's get ready to connect, and I'm going to come in closer, so I'll be right back. All right, we are going to get ready to connect. So you will need one skein to work on one side, and then we'll work a little bit, and then I will come back and show you how to connect on the left side, and of course set aside our neck as we work. Then you will be able to work each front separate. All right, let me get my little knot out my yarn. I knotted up my yarn. What is going on? Oh, it's a rainy night in Georgia. Again. They said a big storm, but so far it's just rain. All right. Right here, this is where I want to connect. Now let's see if I'm on camera. If I'm doing good, I think that's good. All right, so the first thing I want to do, the reason I turn it this way, what we're going to do is simply stack in every column. We're going to match it on this side. Now, you'll have to kind of fudge a little bit in order to get it to line up because we're on the opposite side of the stitch. But it does work, and this is the way I do it all the time. So first thing I want you to do is to connect your yarn. However you connect, go into this first double crochet right there where you have these extra chains. Now if you had a whole lot of extra chains, just go ahead and cut it and leave a tail about 2 or 3 inches long. See that? You can go ahead and cut that. Eventually we're going to cut it, we're going to work it back to and be able to cut it off. But if you have a real long piece and it's going to get in your way, just cut it to about that length, just so that you'll have something. Alright, in the first double crochet right there, I'm taking my eye hook and I'm going in under 2 strands. Does that make sense? We're getting ready to work. Make sure my hands wasn't in the way. Alright, and I just simply join by just making a loop, bringing both strands of yarn through. I tighten up good and tight, then I drop mine. A lot of you just work over your tail. I just drop mine. However you do it, it's alright. It doesn't matter. But the main thing is to chain 3. So after you connect, then, oops. After you connect good and tight, then chain 1, 2, and 3. Now we're going to start trying to stack the same stitch on top of the same stitch. So I have a double crochet, so I'm simply going to double crochet right on top of the next one, just like that, and then another double crochet there. Now, since this is the same rule applies, this is the front side, so I only have to chain 1. This is row 1. Do you need me to put out my little number there? Just to remind you, on row 1 we chain 1, on row 2 we chain 2. Alright, so I chain 1, then I go to that single crochet, that single right there above the cluster. There's a single crochet stitch right there, so I go into it and I do a double crochet. See, we're back in pattern. Now chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and that I'm going to turn it so I can work horizontal around that stitch with 1 cluster, yarn over, go under, pull up a loop, go through 2, it's 2, yarn over, see, it's the same stitch. Pull through 2, I have 4 loops on my hook, 1, 2, 3, 4, I pull through all 4, chain 1. Move to the next sequence, it's the 3 double crochets. Try to stack them. You may have to see if you can get right on top of them because we're working on the opposite side. So normally the stitch is on to this side of that post, but I'm going to work right in, right above it. I just need you to kind of line them up the best you can. See that? Alright, then chain 1. And then move to the next. Here's a cluster. Right in that single crochet, right above it, you would do a double crochet, chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then work your 3 clusters. 1. This is 2 and 3. There you go. 4 loops on the hook, pull through all 4, chain 1. Alright, let's see, can I pull it over, make sure that I am on and that I'm not all in the way. I'll stop and look at this if I have to. Alright, next thing I see those double crochets, so I need to work in those. Double crochet, work the next one, and the next one, and the next one, chain 1. Okay, so now we're moving. I'm trying to work my way over to our first marker. Alright, then do a double crochet right above the cluster, chain 3, 1, 2, 2, 2, 3. I rotate a little bit so that I can work around that stitch. 1, 2, and 3. Pull through all 4 loops, chain 1. Okay. Let's see, now I've got myself a nice size little knot here. We are having warm, it's a little warm here. I don't know, I don't know why it's so warm. Okay, let's see, can I do that? There we go. Alright, so now I am, make sure I get some yarn so I don't have to stop. The next thing I see after I chain 1, I see those 3 double crochets again. So I want to work, trying to stack on top, chain 1, and then above the cluster I'll do a double crochet, chain 3, 1, 2, 3, work around that stitch, 1, 2, and 3. Pull through the 4 loops, chain 1. Alright, 3 double crochets I see, so 1, 2, and 3. Alright, chain 1. Then I'm on over to the above the cluster, a double crochet, chain 1, 2, 3. Work your stitch here, 1, 2, and 3. Pull through, chain 1, because we are on row 1. Finally, now this is where I want you to stop. All right, we see this first marker. There's a cluster on this side of the marker, and then there's 3 double crochets. This is where we will start right here. Let me just show you. After I chain 1, I do above the 3 double crochet. That's 1, 2, and 3. Now, I'm going to go ahead and fill up all of this with double crochets so that I can stop this side. This will be the neck. This will be the right front. So I have 1, 2, 3. You know we had 2 chains in between. So 3, right here, you're going to put number 4, number 5, then into the cluster, 6, okay, then I'm up to, there's no chains in between, now I'm up to the next double crochet group right there that's marked. Let's see how many we have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I won't go 7. Then 8 and 9. Everyone will get 9 double crochets right there, just like that. We worked, so that leaves me with only 5 clusters. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for me, but you're going to be 1 cluster less because we're stopping this cluster right there. We started here on top of the double crochets before this marker. 1, 2, 3. I put 2 in here because we had a chain 2. 4, 5. Then above the cluster, 6, 7, 8, 9. Does that make sense? All right. Now, all we have to do, we'll change. Now we'll go to row 2. We're not concerned with this side. We're only going to work this side now. We're separating everything. So I will chain 3. 1, 2, 3. Now we will turn the work. Now let's see if I can turn it and be on camera or in the frame right that you can see it. Okay, I'll put it down. Okay. Alright, so now once I chain 3 and turn the work, and this becomes row 2, the first thing I want to do is to decrease 9 double crochets. Everyone will have 9 double crochets. Remember that number. That's a number I frequently use. I'm going to decrease one of these double crochets so you will end up with 8. You start with 9, And now we're going to decrease. As soon as I chain 3 and turn, then I'm going to crochet the next 2 double crochets together just like this. Yarn over, go into the first double crochet, pull up a loop, pull through 2, stop, yarn over, go into the next double crochet, pull up a loop, pull through 2, stop. I have 3 loops on my hook, and I will just pull through all 3. I have just decreased my 9 double crochets for my neck or my border to 8. That's the number you're going to crochet all the way down to the down this front. Now continue across, just working in these double crochets. Let me get over here, and then we will get back into the pattern. We are on row 2, so what do? Chain 2, 1, 2. I chain 2. Now I go right back into where I single crochet into the top of the cluster, chain 2, 1, 2. I move to the next group of double crochets, 1, 2, and 3, and chain 2, 1, 2, then single crochet here. Does that make sense? Now watch, let's just count these double crochets and make sure you have 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and you have to remember to go into the post. After a while, once you get to going and you get a rhythm, sometimes you'll forget and not go into the post, and you'll be rows on down. You go, oh man, I don't have 8. No, you have to find your little mistake, pull it back, and go into the post so that you have 8 all the way down the front edge. This is the border coming over the front. Where you're going, yeah. This is the border coming over the front. All right, so now, let's see if I'm on. Still in the frame, okay. So now I just work, chain 2, 1, 2. I start work, get back into pattern. Row 1, row 2, row 1, row 2. Just like that. Chain 2, chain 2, single crochet here, chain 2, 1, 2, double crochets here. It's 1, 2, and 3. Chain 2, 1, 2, single crochet, 1, 2, the 3 double crochets, 1, 2, I'm going to run out of yarn, and 3. Chain 2, 1, 2, single crochet, chain 2, and I'm up to the last 3, the border. So that's a double crochet, another double crochet, and then a double crochet into the chain or the post. Just get it in there, as long as it stacks up. Now you see how then it's hard to find that seam once we start over. So that marks, that's why I had you to mark it now. So now we know exactly where the back ends and the front will start. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3, turn the work. Let's see, can I turn and get back on camera? Let's just see if I can. So this is what you have. Now let me check it. All right, so I have, once I turn, I'm back into pattern till I get here. This is row 1. Once I turn, that's row 1, so I only have to chain one in between, get here, chain 1, and work all of these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Don't forget, I would count the first few rows as I'm doing it so that I won't forget to go into the post so that you will have 8. So we start with 9, everyone will start with 9, and then we decrease that 1 as soon as we turn, and now we have 8 to go all the way down the front. All right. We're going to work a little bit on this side, then I'm going to come back because I always like to show you how to connect on this side, on the left side. Make sure that everyone's in the right place so that your neck is just right. So let me work a little bit, and just so that you can see it, and then I'll come back and show you how to connect on this side. Back in just a moment. All right, I'm back. And as you can see, I have been working, as I hope you have too, working down one front. This is, when you're wearing the sweater, this is the right side, the right front, as you can see. And look at that pretty border. Every once in a while, remember to stop and take and count. We started out with 9. Everyone had 9, but then we decreased 1. So every once in a while, you need to check and go 2, 4, 6, 8. Because sometimes you might forget to go into the post, when you're just kind of getting the hang of it and you're flying through. So just stop and check so you don't have to pull back. Otherwise, it will be noticed if you miss one. But there's my little front border, so I don't have to do anything. It looks nice and clean and neat. Hope you can see it on this light color. And, of course, I would work maybe halfway down, maybe more than this, and then I would stop because I like to go up and join to the left front so that I don't have to get all the way to the end and then have to go way back up. I like to be maybe halfway down. So I'm going to take this ball of yarn, this skein that I'm working this side, put it there, and now I'm just going to kind of roll it over. Let's see, can I just roll it over so I can turn, because we need to go and start the left side of the sweater. So let me check my camera and see where we are. And we can just keep working. Now I'm going to pull this way down. I don't know why I'm always up so high, but I'm trying to get the hang of this. Okay, so great. That's perfect. That's like great. All right, so let's talk now. All right. This is the right side, and we had 9 stitches. I'm going to pull this over just for a second that we started. And we started here, worked the 9 stitches, and stopped at the marker. Now, here's the center. This is why we had the odd number. And that's why I try to use it as much as I can to make, so that I don't have to do a lot of math. In knitting, we have to do the math. But in crocheting, it just works out so nice that you can do a lot of counting. Just matching up one side. Once you separate, you just match the sides up. So here's my mark for the left side that represents here. Here's the neck. The neck may look small now, but as we decrease on this side to match this one, it opens up. And you'll be just fine. So I'm going to take some yarn, find my yarn. Let's see, where's my end of my yarn? This is another skein of yarn on this side so that I can work the left front. Now, to match this one, to get our 9, we're going to start with the 3 double crochets, and we're going to double crochet all the way across this cluster. We lose that one stops. We'll double crochet, and then we'll go to that set of double crochets, and that should be 1, 2, 3, 2 in here because there's a chain 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now let's see if it works. Let's see how it looks once we crochet it. So I'm going to join right here. Good. I'm going to join right here above this double crochet. However you join your yarn, just go ahead and join it. And I just put both strands, pull both strands through. I tighten up good and tight. I drop it, some of you crochet over it. You real crocheters, y'all crochet over y'all's. Okay, then the main thing is to be able to chain 3. So pull it through, that's chain 1. That's a little tight, 2, 3. Okay, so I've chained 3, and then I start working across, stacking double crochets. Oops. So you see I have 1, 2, 3, and then I continue on in double crochets. 1, 2, 3, then 1 here, so that makes 4. That's in where those 2 chains are, 4 between here. And the next chain makes 5. Can you see it? Then right above the cluster makes number 6. And then I'm up to the 3 double crochets, so this will be number 7, number 8, and number 9. Now let's look at it. Check it. The post, or the chain 3, says 2, 4, 6, 8, and 1 is 9. That matches this front once, but of course we still have to decrease 1 stitch. So now, now watch, we're on the front, which is row 1, because the back is marked. Alright, back into pattern now, because I need to work this and then work back. So chain 1, I finished that little section there, now chain 1 back into the pattern. Double crochet above the cluster, chain 3, 1, 2, 3, work your 3 clusters, 1, 2, and 3, pull through 4 loops, chain 1, row 1, chain 1. Now I'm working to stack these double crochets on top of each other. 1, and let's see, maybe I go here, just get under 2 strands, and then 3, 1, 2, 3, chain 1. Alright, so now you're back into the pattern. So I need you to work across. I will work across all the way to the end. When I get here to the end, this just represents, this lets me know that this is where the back stops. And now we'll do the 3 double crochets. Don't forget to go into the post, chain 3 and turn, and work back, and I will see you back as we get ready to decrease right here to match, so it will match this side. Does that make sense? Take your time, and I will be back in just a minute. Right, so I have turned, I've chained 3, I've turned, and I've worked the pattern back. I am on the wrong side, row 2, so all we have to do is chain 2 and work across back to the next. So I am up to the 3 double crochets, chain 2, 1, 2. Alright, I can see it coming up. I have chain 2, so a single crochet in the cluster, chain 2, 1, 2. Now, right here, I'll check my count again. I should have 9, 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. I have 9 double crochets. We're going to simply stack double crochets on top of double crochets. Just a real simple sequence that you don't have to work hard to try to remember, or try to have, 5 pages and 6 charts. It's just really simple. Like I say, you'll have this in your head. That's why a lot of times I will go ahead and start another one in another color. I don't have to work on it right away. It's just something you can put away. Like money in the bank. Alright, so I see that I'm coming up to the end of my 9 double crochets, and I work up to the last 3. There's a double crochet, there's 1, and then there's that chain 3, the post. Okay, so on the last, right here, I'm going to yarn over, go into the next double crochet, pull up a loop, pull through 2, stop. Yarn over, go through the next double crochet, pull up a loop, pull through 2, stop. I have 3 loops on the hook. I'm going to pull through all 3. Now I have just decreased by 1 double crochet. I'm taking 1 out. But I'm not done. You see, if you don't go into the chain, you won't have the right number. See? 2, 4, 6, and this has become 1 stitch now, so that's only 7. So I have to double crochet into that post or the chain 3 right there. You see it? Now I will have 2, 4, 6. This becomes 1 stitch, and that's 8. So chain 3, 1, 2, 3. Let's turn the work. Let's see if I can turn all of this fabric. Let's see if I can get all this fabric over without having it stop and change the camera. I'm hooked onto the other ball. That's all right. Now let me see. Bring it down, Jay. Stop. I don't know why I'm always up high. Let me take a look. Great. Okay. So now when I chain 3, of course I'm on row 1. So I only have to chain 1. But first I have to work back over all of these double crochets to get back into pattern. So see, I'm just working back. Probably was a bad idea to use this light color yarn because my background is light too. But I'm just reaching into my stash. I just want some of this yarn. I just want to make stuff. I want to crochet all the stuff, knit all the stuff. All right, stop. Here's my little chain 3. Let's count. 2, 4, 6, 8. Voila. Matches this side, this front of our sweater. We've decreased, and now the neck has opened up more. See? That's why you didn't have to worry, because I knew we were going to decrease. So now, this is the right side, row 1. So I chain 1, and I get back into pattern. See how easy that is? Just get right back into pattern. A double crochet in the cluster, chain 3, 1, 2, 3. Then you work the horizontal cluster, 1, 2, and 3. 4 loops, pull through all 4, and chain 1. Now you're just working across. Next thing is a 3 double crochets, 1, 2, and 3. Come on, get in there. Okay. All right, so now let me pull up a loop. Now you can see, I'll put it towards the center a little more so we can see a little bit of this one, and you can see what you have done, how you have made. You've taken one long piece of fabric. Now you've got the right front started, maybe halfway down you came back up. I walked you through how to connect on the left side and being in the same place, having the same number of double crochets to match. Now you just work this one down and down and down. Now let me turn it to the right side. So I need to remind you, give you a little tip, a reminder. All right, as you're working down, okay, and this is why we have that, everything from this mark back is the back. So remember on mine, like I said, I'm short, so it only took me 17 of these clusters. I just sat there once I reached from my waist to my top of my shoulders. 17 seemed to fit just fine. All right, and from this mark, I know these are all in the back. In fact, you can even put the mark on that cluster. Now, just to make sure you remember where the back is, you don't have to look for the seam. You'll know that this cluster comes to the back. All right, this cluster, you'll count with the front. Tip. How many remember the tip from another project? I can move that now. From other projects where I said, well, a good way to make sure that you don't have that you have positive ease in the front of our crochet sweaters. If I did 17 clusters down for the, up for the back, I want to add 2 more clusters for the front, for each front. So my front, I had to come over the shoulders and come down 19. I had to come over the shoulders and then go down 19 clusters, ending on the little scallop, ending on row 1, with the little clusters popping up. and which will give me positive ease in the bust. Now, if you're just really large in the bust, more than in 40 or something, I'm large in the bust because I'm older now. So, but two repeats more gives me plenty of ease, because once we get ready to sew and we put the two side seams together, it automatically pushes all that yarn or that space up to the shoulders like this, and then therefore you have extra room in the bust when you sew up the side seam. When the side seam is sewn up, you will have extra room because you need to do at least 2 repeats more than whatever you do for the back. So if you did 20 clusters for the back, then you've got to go up 2 more for the front. So you'd have 22 in the front. Make sense? All right. So that's where we are. We are working over each front now. Each front is going to be connected with its own ball. Row 1, row 2. Be sure to end both fronts, like I said, on row 1 with the little scallop, with the little clusters standing up. And then I will come back. Let's see. So now that's the 2 fronts. Then we will have to I'm just telling you what's coming up. So then we will sew the side seams once we finish both fronts. But I suggest you pin it. Remember how I took the big safety pins? I suggest you I have a lot of these baby pins. Pin your sides. Check it. Don't sew, and we'll sew up the seam. I'll show you some if I need to when I come back. But we'll sew the side seams, but never tie anything off under the arm. Just sew it up and then leave it hanging, leave the tails hanging in case you need to adjust it. Okay? Then, let's see, after that, let me get my little sandal. Okay, then I'm going to show you how to work a nice edging all the way around from neck, bottom, down around the neck, down the front, all at one time. And then last but not least, I believe we'll be able to get to the ruffle too. So, let's continue to work down each front, but be sure to at least do 2 extra repeats on each front. Pin your sweater together on each side. Try it on. See how it fits. See if you like it. Alright, then I will come back and we will continue. This ends step 2. Is it step 2? Yeah, this ends step 2. How to separate and work the front and work the front edge, and we will come back with step 3. Let's see, I don't know what we'll call that. The detail work, the trim and the detail work and the ruffles. Detail, trim, and ruffles. Oh, that's cute. All right, back shortly.